along with every single Republican colleague, voted against the law that made these investments in jobs possible. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact. And then she voted to repeal key parts of this law. And she called this law a massive failure. You all know you're part of a massive failure? Tell that to the 850 Coloradans who get new jobs in Pueblo and Seattle.
The number of diverse staffers has increased, reaching the highest level since we launched our survey, and almost certainly the highest level ever. Certainly the highest level in our conference's history. Our survey also shows that more African Americans work for Senate Democratic offices than ever, and in fact that's also true for Latinos, Middle Eastern and North Africans, and Asian American Pacific Islanders. Additionally, more staffers identify as part of the LGBTQ community since we first asked that question starting in 2019.
He called for a number of changes to tax policy in his State of the Union address, including significantly raising the levy on stock, buybacks, and imposing a billionaire minimum tax. But the shout-out to the expanded child tax credit is more immediately significantly for the average American family than a tax on billionaires. The expanded child tax credit was back in 2021. It helped a lot of people out and to help families with Americans struggling financially while they provided stimulus for a long time. And the maximum benefit of the credit was increased from $2,000 to $3,000 in 2021. That's for people 6 to 17 years old. And half of the credit was given in advance, plus in monthly payments to the families to help others throughout the year, and the other half was given as part of a household's tax refund. The household with pretty much no or low income was able to receive it for the first time. And though it can take years for the policy to have the tangible effects, the impact of the credit was pretty much very noticeable, very fast. And so I believe it's pretty much right for Joe Biden to send out another one. Don't you guys agree? Parents reported using the advance payments for household essentials like groceries, clothing, schools, and utilities. And despite worries from conservatives, researchers found no evidence that the policy discouraged people from going back to work. Instead, it probably motivated people to get back to work. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, everybody, said the success of the 2021 expansion showed us that child poverty rates are a policy choice, not inevitable. And Congress failed to renew the expansion in 2021, reverting the credit back to its former, less generous iteration. It's one of the reasons that families could see smaller tax refunds this year when they file their returns, because some tax credits have already implemented their own version of a child tax credit last year to make up for the difference. Still, without this expansion, everybody, millions of people fell back into poverty at the beginning of last year. It made many people broke, and it hurt so many households. But folks, here's a solution to this. Folks, there is a new Ford stimulus check, and thousands of Americans are set to receive checks worth as much as $2,500 very soon. Many of you are wondering whether your state will send you one. Well, I'll be sharing all this important information for the Ford stimulus payment in today's video. So continue watching. We got a ton of news about this. Since the IRS distributed the final batch of these economic impact payments to eligible individuals, the concept of a fourth federal applicant must have worked between March 10th and May 7th of 2022 in one of these occupations that the state has listed. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel. Eligible applicants must earn at least. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel, food and agricultural workers, grocery store staff, and public transit workers. Applicants must earn less than $150,000 per year and cannot be employed by a federal or state entity. Full-time workers who earn less than $100,000 can apply for a $1,000 grant. Those earning more than $100,000 but less than $150,000 are eligible for grants on a sliding scale, ranging as low as $200. Part-timers working less than 30 hours a week can apply for a $500 grant. The application period will run until October 1st, and the goal is to process requests within a 60-day window. And for the company of Lowe's, the CEO said that in recognition of high inflation, we're providing $55 million in bonuses to our hourly frontline associates this quarter. And though there has been a slight decrease in gas, now the IRS estimates that nearly $1.5 billion in refunds remains unclaimed because people have yet to file their tax returns. The median refund is $893 for the year, according to the agency. Taxpayers have until July 17th to file their 2019 tax return. This reflects the 3-year limitation date as the crisis pushed back the 2019 filing date by 3 months. Under the law, lawmakers and taxpayers generally have years to file and claim their tax refunds. That's if you don't even file a return within 3 years. The money becomes the property of the U.S. Treasury Department. And now, if you reside in the state of New Mexico, keep an eye out on your bank account. The New Mexico governor says that the latest round of rebates will go out mid-June. Thanks to a bill passed by lawmakers during the legislative session, New Mexico people have previously filed taxes and will get another round of rebates. Single tax filers will get $500. Married couples will get more. And taxpayers who use direct deposit when filing their tax returns will get the latest round of rebate checks automatically via direct deposit. If you moved here since 2021, you should update your address online via the Taxation and Revenue Department's Taxpayer Access Point. Now, for everybody in the United States of America, well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the consumer prices climbed 5% in March, down from 6%. The latest inflation reading represents the 9th straight month of easing price growth on an annual basis, and it's down from 9% high last June. But it's still well above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, among the key categories still seeing outsized pace growth, and now it's climbing 8.5% from March 2022 to March 2023, which hit 8.3% growth. As a result, cooling inflation won't really have proved much about solace to consumers in its demand that the Fed is aiming to address by the raising interest rates. Food and rent are among the categories that continue to have the largest price increase. Food prices already climbed 10%. In the same month, rents had their largest one-month increase on record, climbing 8.2%, and rent data is even considering a lagging indicator, meaning surveys are slower to capture real-time changes because most leases are at a 12-month long. We have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and STI. I'm ready to see what President Biden could do for you folks, and let's see what he could do for the American people. Hopefully he can do what he promised us and send out the fourth stimulus check. Now, first of all, the weather is heating up and so are gas prices. AAA has reported that the national average for a gallon of gas rose 8 cents last week, and now it's up to $3.66 a gallon. Now, oil prices initially got a boost early in April, which now surprisingly announced that it would cut production starting in May by about $1 million per day. This is news from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. This past Thursday, oil rose further after the International Energy Agency predicted global oil demand will climb by 2 million barrels a day.
What are we doing? What is the world community doing to make sure that every person on earth, no matter how poor? All right, let me go to a subject which I think as a nation we don't discuss enough, and that is long stand the problem and perhaps deal with it over a period of time.
Schumer has just announced that he is going to bring a $35 cap on parents' insulin